IVM.
Hello and welcome to the Habit Coach podcast. I am Ashdin, Doctor, your habit coach, and today with us in the hot seat we have Gaurav. Now, Gaurav has asked many questions, all existential, and I'm going to just have fun answering this. Okay, so guys, it's going to be completely me just riffing away. Let's see what we end up with. So, Gaurav says, I wanted to know who I am. Does God really exist? What is the nature of my existence? Can you please tell me how can I find answers to these questions? Do I have to visit all the spiritual gurus to find the right answers? Will I ever be able to find the answer in my lifetime? If getting angry, jealous, egoistic is wrong, then why nature has given these qualities to us? And then to live peacefully, why do we have to overcome these natures in us? All right. So clearly there are 35,364 questions in this particular hot seat episode. Let's break it down one by one. The first question he asks is, I wanted to know who I am. So this who I am question is something that is one of the most powerful meditation tools that has existed. So many gurus over the years have given this as a task. When you're sitting down and you're meditating, you keep asking yourself, who am I? Who am I? And the objective of asking this question is not to get an answer. The objective of this question is to promote the thought process and focusing yourself on this one question that possibly does not have an answer at all. So the Zen masters used to have things called koans, which were questions that had no meaningful answer. For example, what does the sound of a tree falling in the middle of the forest if no one is there to hear it, right? That is one of the most famous ones. Those are koans. And the koans were designed so that you don't have an answer, but you're occupying your mind in a particular thought. So it becomes a form of meditation. You know, we normally think of meditation as no thought. But another way of thinking of meditation is thought observation, where you focus so deeply on one thing that all else fades away. So the question, who am I, is not something that needs to be answered, but it's a question that needs to be asked in order to get to deeper states of awareness. Okay? Because you will see yourself at the first level as I am this person having all these thoughts. Then slowly, when you're meditating, you will start observing that you are a person looking at the world around you, not necessarily being a part of the world around you. And then there's an even deeper state where you start observing the person who's observing the world around you. And I know at this point of time, it all gets so complicated that you're wondering that, what? And that is the point of this question. It is not to get to an answer, but it is to understand that there are deeper states that you can go to by just asking this question over and over and again to yourself. The critical thing when answering this question or asking this question is not to come to an answer. So if you suddenly discover saying, yeah, I know exactly who I am, that means this is pointless. Then why are you asking the question? Correct? In fact, there's a beautiful Osho video on him making fun of people who know the answer to who I am. Do watch it. But continuing with this, who I am is not meant to give you an answer. It is meant to just get you to think. The next question he asks is, does God really exist? Okay. Now, who knows if God exists? But the point is that we all have a belief system that we hold on to. So we either believe that God exists or we believe that God doesn't exist. The point is, it's irrelevant. All you're doing is you're focusing on your beliefs, and our beliefs are different. That doesn't matter. But the point is that you are still believing that God doesn't exist. So it is still a belief system that we are tackling. Who knows if God exists? That is irrelevant. If you believe that God exists, do you want to go on a search for him? That is critical. If you don't believe that God exists, do you want to go on a search for answers for the way the world works around you without God's existence? That is another path. And I think focusing on the path is better than focusing on the end destination. Why just worry about if God exists? It's irrelevant. We have the rest of our multiple lifetimes, if you believe in that as well, to answer that. Right now, enjoy the path of discovery. Next one is, what is nature of my existence? Now, nature of your existence comes from understanding those three aspects of you, your body, mind, and your soul. Now, your body is the physical stuff that is picked up. What is crazy is that we often think about reincarnation as a new body, but we don't realize that we have a new body every few years. From the time we were children to the time we are now, we've gone through so many different changes that who can we say that we are actually this person that we were when we were a child? It's almost like we've already reincarnated multiple times during this birth itself. And I find that aspect of life fascinating. You know, if you just focus on the way that we have changed in this life itself, forget about the next lifetimes. Who worries about them? Right now, just think about how much you have changed and evolved in this one. You're not the same child that you were. You're not the same baby that you were. Okay. So think about reincarnation in the same way. Think about who you are in the same way as evolving. So that's the body. Your mind is your meaning that you put to the outside world. So your senses give you your five senses, six senses, seven senses, how many ever senses that you can amalgamate, give you a depiction of the world around you. Your mind adds meaning to that depiction. Okay. And your soul is considered that everlasting aspect that moves from one aspect, or rather, it is part of the universal energy that is there around you. So the soul one, many people find it really hard to understand. Fair enough, no problem. But at least the body and the mind you can understand very clearly. Body is all the physical stuff that you're made up of. Mind is all the meaning that you've attached to the world around you. Soul is a little bit more difficult to understand. The next one is, do I have to go to spiritual guru to find the right answers? The way that I look at it is, guys, spiritual gurus have spent years and years and years just learning this. Might as well go listen to them and then come to your own conclusions. Okay. So you don't need to have to go. I would suggest you go, learn different perspectives, because ultimately the more research you do, the more curiosity will be built. Because remember, most of these are not things that have end goal answers to in any case. Like I say, this is a journey. You have to think about spirituality as a journey, not an end destination. And if it's a journey, then many gurus will come in your life. Many gurus will go in your life. Who knows? You might become a guru for somebody else. Will I ever be able to answer these questions in my lifetime? Who knows? That's not the point. The last question that he asks is, if getting angry, jealous, and egoistic is wrong, why has nature given these qualities to us? And then how do we overcome these to live peacefully? So let's break up these three that he's given. Anger. Anger is a very useful emotion when you are being attacked in the wild. Imagine you're in the wild and there is a tiger that is coming to attack your children. You want that anger to come so that you get that superhuman power that comes from adrenaline and all of those hormones to fight off that tiger. So anger is very critical. The problem is that in today's day and age, nothing is life-threatening enough for us to use anger. Where was the last time that your life was threatened? Instead, we use anger because our chai was too cold. Instead, we use anger because we read something on social media that suddenly got us angry. Not your life. Your life is not in danger, which is why this emotion is being misplaced in today's day and age, which is why we need to learn to live with this peacefully by overcoming it. I've done lots of podcasts on how to overcome anger. You can Google them and search for them. Jealousy. Jealousy comes from this point of view of unfairness. Why does that person have what I don't have? Jealousy also comes from an opportunity to get more. So you can either be jealous and say, oh, I wish bad things on that person because that person has something and I don't have that thing. Or you can look at jealousy as a positive emotion, saying, wow, that person has something. What do I need to do to get something similar? Not the same thing, because that is stealing maybe, but something similar. It gives you the opportunity to grow as a person if you use jealousy correctly. If you use jealousy wrong, it's like, why is my girlfriend talking to that boy, right? That is jealousy unkept. That is jealousy unchecked. Instead, if you focus on a way that you can use jealousy in a more mindful manner, it's worthy. And egoistic. Egoistic is again an emotion when unchecked goes rampant. Egoistic is all about understanding that, the world is around me, world is about me, world's about me. Not true. The way to get over the ego is to understand that you are a part of the world around you, not separate from the world around you. And in this way, you can overcome each of these three emotions very peacefully. You don't need to struggle with them. You don't need to fight with them. You need to understand what their essence is. The ego is trying to protect you. The jealousy is trying to make you better. And the anger is giving you the superpower in case your life is ever at risk. So now if you start thinking of it this way, does it really make sense to think of them as negative emotions? No. And they are not wrong, but they're useful if you use them in a mindful manner. All right. So Gaurav, I've managed to answer all your questions. I hope this helps. This is the first time we've done a question answer like this on the Habit Coach podcast. Please send me a message on Instagram. Let me know what you all thought of this answer. Let me know if you found it interesting. Maybe we can have more existential questions like this on the Habit Coach podcast and let's answer them. All right. If you want me to answer your questions on the next Habit Coach Hot Seat episode, check out the link below, click on it and give me a nice detailed description of what you're going through and how I can help. I'm Ashdin Doctor, your habit coach. And remember, awesome lives start with awesome habits.
Usually in a podcast, it's me who speaks to you and you who listens. But I've been seeing your comments and it's time. It's me listening to you. Following the overwhelming success of this podcast, the good folks at IVM Podcast Network have decided to come up with a Kannada adaptation of the show for those who prefer listening to it in that language. Do make sure you let your Kannada speaking friends know about this as well.
Now, if you like this podcast, don't forget to check out other interesting podcasts on the IVM network. You can listen to us on the IVM Podcast app or ivmpodcast.com. You can also follow us on social media. We are at IVM Podcast on Twitter and Instagram. If you want to reach out to me, I am at Ashdin Doc on Twitter and Instagram. We have a brand new habit coaching online course, quizzes, videos, and a lot more on the website awesome180.com. So check it out now.
Hello. It's been another great week on the IVM Podcasts Network. On Misconduct, Raghavi and Nisha celebrate the first anniversary of the podcast by looking back at Season 2. They are also joined by 3 special fans who recount their favorite episodes. On Cyrus Says Cock and Bull, Cyrus, Ayushi, Amit and Antariksh discuss how a man delivers his resume in a pastry box to the Bangalore startups. On The Wire Talks, Siddharth talks to French political scientist Christophe Jaffrelot about authoritarian regimes. On Ikka Dukka Economy, Abhinav asks renowned cybersecurity expert Dr. Pawan Duggal about possible cyber and financial dangers. And on The Longest Constitution, Priya talks about the freedom of expression with regards to nota or none of the above in EVMs or electronic voting machines. Do not forget, IVM Podcast has just launched its merch and the first line is out now. Head to the IVM Podcast website, click on the shop tab to check out our first collection of t-shirts. Do follow us on social media. We are IVM Podcasts on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram and LinkedIn. And remember, if you're enjoying this show or any of our other shows for that matter, please do tell a friend. Also, don't forget to rate us on any platform you're listening to. You can also check us out on YouTube. We're also doing a small listener survey to better understand how you respond to our shows and advertising on the network. We would really appreciate it if you could spare a few minutes to fill it. It helps us build better shows for you. And finally, we would like to thank our sponsors this week: Boat Lifestyle, Small Case, Cap Gemini, Intel vPro, and Intel. Future Banao Wonderful with Intel-powered laptops.
There's a quick survey to fill out on ivmpodcast.com/survey. It lets us know a little bit more about who's listening to us. And you know what? We're going to do a few prizes. So, we'll do a random drawing of maybe 10 people and we'll send you all some swag. Remember, that's ivmpodcast.com/survey where you can fill out the survey.